Well, good evening, everyone. My name is Maryellen. I'm a registered holistic nutritionist, and I'm really excited tonight to talk to you about how to keep our hearts healthy. And I was introduced to Neolife over 28 years ago because my son had respiratory issues. But I grew up in a family where my dad was only 39 years old when he had his first triple bypass. So I've watched him, with all the heart problems and things. And it was fortunately he was able to get the bypass because it saved his life. But then he had to have it done again when he was in his 60s, because if you don't change your lifestyle and what you're doing, that it'll come back again. So we're going to talk a lot tonight about how we can take charge of our heart health. And I know with myself and my family, when we got started on the products, we were all so much healthier. And I felt really good about doing that because since heart disease is the number one killer, I wanted to sort of take control of my health. And especially when you look at 80% of it is preventable by lifestyle change. And that's not just us saying that. It was actually according to the Heart and Stroke Canada that actually said the same thing, that 80% of premature heart disease and stroke can be prevented through your lifestyle habits, such as eating healthy. So what is heart disease? Well, it's actually when the blood supply to the heart is reduced or cut off, right? So who's at risk? Well, some of the risk factors, as we know, if you smoke, quit. You're not doing yourself any favor. Lack of physical activity, stress, which sometimes we don't have control over, but there is things we could do to support our bodies when we're under stress, and being overweight, because heart disease is definitely preventable. So let's look at some of the nutrition related factors. Too much of that bad stuff, like hydrogenated and industrialized fats. And it is a really good idea to, read your labels, because even things that are organic and look healthy, I've seen hydrogenated oils, trans fats in so many products. Refined sugar. Sugar is an oxidative, it damages the cells. Junk food. Not enough of the good things and we're going to talk a lot tonight about omega-3s and fiber and fruits and vegetables, because we should be eating like 7 to 10 servings minimum of all those dark colored fruits and vegetables every single day. So what are some of the diet related indicators of heart disease? These are things you usually get tested in your blood work. High triglycerides. That's a big risk factor for heart disease, but there is things we can do for that. Elevated homocysteine. That's usually a test you have to ask your doctor for. They don't do it automatically, but it is free, so you can get it done. High cholesterol, oxidative stress, and being overweight and obese. Those are all things that are related to how we eat. So when you look at that circulatory system, you think how powerful our heart is. It beats 100,000 times and pumps 2,000 gallons of blood through 60,000 miles of blood vessels. Like, that's a lot. And there's 200 billion red blood cells that are synthesized in our bone marrow. So it's a pretty powerful muscle. You think it's the biggest muscle in the body. And so what happens in high cholesterol? Well, diet is a factor, but there is other things that cause our cholesterol to raise too. And what it can result in is what they call atherosclerosis. And you can see that artery there, how it starts to close up. And it also causes a lot of other vascular issues like varicose veins and things like that as well. So here's what you see a blood vessel, and see when it gets a little bit of damage. So what causes damage? Well, things like smoking, oxidation, eating crappy food, all those things cause that little bit of damage. So the body wants to repair itself. So what it does, it has a fatty streak where that fatty deposit starts to accumulate in the muscle cell. And then it's sort of like snowballs. It just keeps kind of repair and repair until it actually obstructs the artery. So that's basically what happens. And there's a lot of nutrients that you can do that help prevent that oxidative damage to the blood vessels. And we'll talk more about that later. So when you look at cholesterol, there's the HDL, which is kind of known as the good cholesterol, but it's not, it's actually a high density lipoprotein. And it's a carrier of the good cholesterol from the tissues to the liver for removal from the blood. So that's why it's important that it's high, because it can carry out the cholesterol. where the LDL, it deposits that bad cholesterol, and that's what forms the plaque and actually blocks our arteries. So that's the one we don't want a lot of. But we do need cholesterol because your body needs it to produce hormones and many other things. But again, it's balance, right? So how do we repair blocked arteries? Well, the medical way is coronary bypass surgery. That's what my dad had, open heart surgery, or balloon angioplasty. That's some of the common ways how it's repaired. And they're quite invasive too, just so you know. So how do you detect high blood pressure and heart disease? Well, it's different in men and women, just so you know, but kind of the classic is pain in the chest that radiates to the shoulders or arms, usually on the left side or to the neck, back, or jaw. A pressure or burning sensation in the chest. Women get more nausea. That's kind of a difference. Shortness of breath. Again, nausea is common. Dizziness or fainting. If you kind of have indigestion that doesn't go away, even if you take antacids, fatigue, and excessive sweating. So those are some of the signs that you want to look for. And what's a stroke? Well, the difference with a stroke is, as we mentioned, a heart attack is a blockage in the heart, where a stroke is an interruption of blood flow to the brain. And stroke can cause paralysis, kidney damage. Sometimes the paralysis is temporary, but it can be permanent too. And there's 4 kinds of strokes. 2 are caused by rupture and hemorrhage of the arteries. And this is where it's really, really important for things like flavonoids and things to keep those blood vessels healthy. And 2 are caused by clots that block the blood flow. And that would be the same atherosclerosis, right? So what's some warning signs of stroke? Sudden weakness or numbness of the face, arm, or leg on one side of the body. All of a sudden, if you get dimness or loss of vision, especially in one eye, it just kind of blacks out. Loss of speech or difficulty understanding speech or trouble talking. You see people kind of start mumbling or like almost like they have marbles in their mouth. If there's a sudden severe headache with no known cause, or unexplained unsteadiness, dizziness, or sudden falls, especially with one of the other symptoms. So that's kind of the signs. And if you see any of these, you know, Autumn, you call 911 immediately and take aspirin, right, to try and clear it up. So what's some of the risk factors for stroke? Well, as we get older, we're more prone to it. Males have much higher risk. Race can play a factor. Diabetes, of course, because you know diabetes plays a huge role in heart disease and stroke. If you've had a prior stroke, it can be hereditary. And in your neck, you have that carotid artery. If it's blocked, that can be a risk factor for stroke as well. So what's some of the prevention for hypertension and heart disease? Well, as we mentioned, you got to get those bad fats out of your diet. Eat clean, right? Put away the salt shaker too, because especially if you're prone to high blood pressure, because you know they have the DASH diet, which is a low sodium diet, which is very good for people with high blood pressure. Avoiding canned and processed foods. So much hidden sodium there. You want to try and lower your cholesterol, no smoking or alcohol, exercise regularly, keeping blood sugar in the glycemic zone. Blood sugar is not just for prevention of diabetes, it prevents all sorts of diseases. Keep your stress in check, and of course, good quality nutritional supplements. And when you look at what the World Health Organization recommends for heart disease, cardiovascular disease, and strokes, just what we say for all general health, what you need. More fruits, vegetables, nuts, and whole grains. And of course, this was just verified in the Lancet study that was done in 195 countries. More omega-3 fatty acids, more fish, or from fish or plant sources, and maintaining a healthy weight. And we can do this, you know, with a few lifestyle changes, absolutely. So Nada, would you like to share with us what the 3 keys to optimum health are?
Absolutely, Maryellen. And some of you know, I was introduced to Neolife over 30 years ago, and it was for health reasons. My mom and I were struggling with some health challenges and energy fatigue and things like that. And when I looked at Neolife as a company to supplement my diet, that's what it was. It was to fill the gaps. And it made a huge difference in my life. But I have to say that we have to look at our diet as well. And the 3 keys to optimal health is definitely your diet, weight management, and physical activity. So you have to look at everything that you're doing, not just supplementation and not just diet. There's definitely a balance that has to come from all of these three. And drinking water, filtered water every day. It's so important as well for detoxing and getting rid of, getting rid of all the toxins that are in your body. And it just helps to carry oxygen to all your cells. So it's really, really important. When you look at the Canadian Food Guide, they made this amazing change back in 2019, where half of your diet should be your dark colored fruits and vegetables. And then you've got your whole grains and your lean protein. In that Lancet study that was done, as Maryellen mentioned, in 190 countries, it talked about what we're not eating enough of. And those are the things we're not eating enough of. And that's what's killing us, okay? Picking those foods. And you are what you eat. And reality is that 75% of all chronic diseases are preventable. Okay, you got to make those dietary changes. And good nutrition can help lower the risk for many chronic diseases, including heart disease, stroke, some cancers, diabetes, and osteoporosis. Now, this was a study that was published that Maryellen referred to. And what was really interesting in this study, this is a recent study. And when I learned this 30 years ago, was the importance of these whole grains. And this is what Neolife was talking about way back then. And what, you know, it's kind of cool how now they're saying this is what we're not eating enough of. This is what's causing the problem. We're not having enough whole grains, fruit, nuts, and seeds, omega-3, and vegetables. But what's the problem? Well, let me tell you, it's hard to get these whole grains in our diet every day. For example, they used to grow the wheat, grind the wheat, make the flour, make the bread, and the breads only had a day shelf life. Okay, so now how long do our breads and our cereals and our pastas last? Well, they no longer do this. Everything is milled and processed. Our grains are no longer whole. They remove all the critical nutrients. They leave you with this white flour, gluten, protein kind of bread. So all the precious oils are gone so that they have a longer shelf life. And this is why supplementation is important. You know, when you're looking at supplements, and even when I was looking at Neolife, I was uncomfortable taking supplements. I really believed that food was my medicine, that I should be getting everything from our food. But Maryellen, as a holistic nutritionist, this is a huge challenge. If you want to maybe share a little bit of what's going on out there and why people are having a challenge with getting products that actually work. You're muted, hon.
That's so true, Nana, because I know myself, I've taken supplements, tried all sorts of supplements with no results, and I couldn't understand why they weren't working. But a lot of people think just because something's in a store, it's safe. But as you can see, that the study that was done, where researchers found from 2007 to 2016, there were 776 products that were marketed as dietary supplements that contain hidden active ingredients that were unsafe or unstudied. And even when I took my nutrition course, there was so many different products, professional lines, and a lot of it is just how it's marketed, because a professional product's marketed to a professional, that doesn't necessarily mean it's a better product. So when I looked at Neolife, I really felt it was a name I could trust. I was impressed because the fact it had been around since 1958. They'd never had a dietary recall. It's in over 50 countries around the world, and they meet or exceed the standards of all the health boards of all those companies. And the main difference with Neolife is just not isolated nutrients. I see that so much. It'll be really high of certain different nutrients, where this is balanced like food. So it's based in nature, but backed by science. So when people ask me what should I look for in a supplement, I say, you want to know what it's made from. Just because it's natural, it can be anything from the ground. Where Neolife bases it on what was that Lancet study said we're missing in our diets: whole grains, fruits and vegetables, and wild salmon. And every ingredient is GMO free. And when you look at the science, they have such great evidence-based science. And the reason for that is the Scientific Advisory Board, which was founded by Dr. Arthur First, one of the top toxicologists in the world. He was actually the co-founder of oral chemotherapy. So when he did when he looked at Neolife and he realized that whole foods are the key to prevention of disease, he joined up with Neolife in the 1970s. And he set up a prestigious scientific advisory board of world-renowned scientists and researchers that are involved in the research and development of the products, not just a good-looking doctor who endorses it. So that means you can be 100% sure what's on the label is in the bottle and nothing else. But then they go one step further. They actually do testing, where they test to make sure what's in the bottle gets into the body. And these studies are actually published in peer-reviewed journals like the American College of Nutrition, the New England Journal of Medicine, like really well-known prestigious journals, that the products are actually tested and proven to work. There's a lot of companies that just have raspberries and they'll say, oh, the raspberries are an antioxidant, but the product's not tested. So Nana, do you want to share how we can fill those gaps with our Pro Vitality?
Yeah, and you know what, Maryellen, when we talked about the Lancet study and about those lipids and grain oils and fish and fruits and vegetables, this is a great foundation to help us fill the gap. In this Pro Vitality, this amazing box, you're getting 30 little packets, and every packet has the grain oils called Tran, the carotenoids, the omega-3, and a multivitamin. We're going to talk about these 4 individually. So the grain oils, remember we talked about how they used to mill our grains and all these oils used to be in our food? We're no more. That's why our breads last, weeks, and our cereals last years, and our pasta lasts forever, where these essential lipids are critical. And what's in this Tran are those grain oils from wheat, rice, and soy, less gluten though than a bowl of gluten-free cereal, developed for a hospital research study, and it helps to promote cellular energy and efficiency, okay? And how Tran works, it gets your cells healthy. Every cell in your body is made up of those lipids to control what goes in and what goes out, because we can't get these oils in our diet anymore unless you're grinding your own wheat and doing all that lovely stuff. The cell membrane is hard and sticky. All the nutrients can't get in and all of the waste can't get out. The healthy cell, you add Tran, and all of a sudden the cells start working better. You get better nutrient utilization. And this is really, really critical. So even if you have a good diet, you might not be absorbing all the nutrients that are in your diet. And Texas A&M University, they proved that Tran will help your cells absorb the nutrients from your diet by 50% more. So this is incredible. And then there's the carotenoids, your fruits and vegetables, right? That they say we should be eating up to 13 servings a day. It's a challenge. Not many of us do that. I try on a daily basis, but it's a challenge. And if you have children, it's even harder. I find our teenagers are a challenge. The USDA proved that this product, carotenoids, will boost your immune system 37% in 20 days. It was published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition and presented at New York Academy of Sciences. So one of these capsules that's in this pack, after a month, is equivalent to consuming 80 pounds of raw fruits and vegetables in every box. And Maryellen's going to cover this a little later, but this helps to protect from oxidative damage, which plays a really big role in heart disease. Okay, so really, really important to understand the importance of antioxidants, and that's what this carotenoid is. It's an antioxidant. So it protects you from oxidizing. So I like to say it protects you from rusting from the inside out, helps to slow aging. And again, it protects you. How many servings a day? 13 servings a day, very, very difficult to do. So this just helps to fill the gap. Then there's omega-3, and they say that heart attacks and even cancer, Alzheimer's, some of these diseases are linked to inflammation, and they're calling it the secret killer because it's going on inside and you don't even know until something happens. Okay, so you really want to make sure that you're reducing inflammation in your body, and fish oil will do that. Good quality fish, eating some fish, but the challenge is our fish today contaminated, mercury, lead. Our salmon oil that's in this little pack, you get one in this Vitality pack, all 8 omega-3, tested for 200 contaminants with an allowance of 0. So no mercury, no lead, no toxins, from pure Atlantic cold pressed fish. And it was proven to reduce the inflammatory index 68% in just 8 weeks. This is powerful. This is what really helped my mom. This is how we got started in the company. Was she had a lot of pain from fibromyalgia and arthritis. This made a huge, huge difference. And she's now pain-free in her mid-70s. So such a powerful, powerful product. So reducing inflammation is the key. And the salmon oil also plays a role in reducing your triglycerides by 17%. And again, proven to reduce inflammation 68% in just 8 weeks. Okay, very, very important. We were even featured by the Royal College of Obstetricians and Gynecologists as being even safe for pregnant moms. It was the one fish oil they chose for pregnant moms. Okay, some fish oils that you buy today will say right on the label, don't take if you're pregnant. They're even telling pregnant moms not to eat fish. So, and it's so important for the growth and development of the baby. So fish oil plays such a big role, and it plays a role here, Maryellen. So if you want to share a little bit about the high triglycerides.
Yeah, high triglycerides are such a big risk factor for heart disease, and the omega-3s help to lower that. I think the salmon oil is like our number one of our heart program. It's so, so important. And it's great that we get at least one of them in the little pack. So it's an indicator of elevated risk of cardiovascular disease. It's a reflection of a diet too high in fat, and it can also be a family trait. And as you can see, it causes the cholesterol to block into the cells, and the liver will produce it. And that's why it's important too, a lot of the keep the inflammation down, because if your liver's inflamed, it produces more cholesterol. Cholesterol is kind of produced as a band-aid for the body, so it to kind of to heal it, right? So if you have a lot of inflammation, your body shoots it out trying to fix itself, and unfortunately it's not doing it in the right way. So the key is with high triglycerides, you want to reduce, of course, those bad fats, which you've heard us mention several times already, and increase the intake of the good omega-3s. Because what it does, it optimizes the omega-3 to omega-6 balance, because we have way too many omega-6 in our diet. That's like sunflower oil, bread. It should be like almost 2 to 1, and we actually have, most people are 30 to 1 of the omega-6. So this helped, salmon oil was proven to lower the triglycerides, improve the inflammatory index, and it has all 8 omega-3s that work together, and you get much better results. And then the last tablet is the essential vitamin and mineral tablet. And that kind of completes it. So you get all those vitamins and minerals that you need every day in your diet, because they're very important for balancing everything as well. So this is much more than a multi, right? Because if most of the time when you buy one of those one-a-days, you just get synthetic vitamins and minerals. Well, with this, you get your omega-3s, you get your fruits and vegetables, you get your grain oils, and your vitamins and minerals. So it's like a Cadillac of multis. And the results, well, as you can see, there's so many results, but we're keying in tonight on heart health. So this is definitely a foundation for a heart program to get the a Pro Vitality in place. And for our kids, like it's actually been proven between the grain oils that they actually will help hurt cardiovascular development in children. And I know even my daughter-in-laws, when they used to go for the ultrasounds, they were on all these products during the pregnancy, and the technicians every time would comment how well developed the heart and the lungs are. So you think to give our kids a great start, it's so important. You partner that salmon oil with the Liquivite, which is much different than most of those multis that you get out there for babies, because it has those lipids and phytosterols. And then when they get a little older, they can chew the VitaSquares and VitaGuard. This is a program my 4 granddaughters were on, and not one of them's ever been on antibiotics. So when you take the Pro Vitality and add it to our Neolife Shake, Nada, isn't this the perfect breakfast for the whole family?
You know, it's been 30 years. I have not gone a day without a Neolife Shake, and my kids as well, other than when I do that 3-day detox, you go without protein for 2 days. And boy, do you ever look forward to this amazing product. But it's so important to start your morning with a good quality breakfast. And I found that was a big challenge, especially when I was on the police force working shift work. It was hard. So this was something that I introduced in the morning, no matter what shift I was working. Perfect meal replacement for the whole family. My kids grew up on it. They absolutely love it. Even now they're in their 20s, and very few days do they go without it. When they don't get a shake in the morning, they notice a difference at the end of the day. It's all natural. It has all 22 amino acids. It's easy to digest. Okay, very, very important, because some of the proteins out there have a challenge. People have a challenge digesting. Has some fiber. It has that glycemic control response, which helps to regulate blood sugar, which also is important to prevent heart disease as well. Okay, so getting that blood sugar in the glycemic control zone is very, very critical. It has all your vitamins and minerals and whole food antioxidants. It's a healer. Protein is a healer. And there's nothing artificial in this shake. Okay, no high fructose corn syrup, no preservatives, no gluten. It's just such a great product. And again, for your grandkids, Maryellen, I know these are your 2 grandbabies, and my kids grew up on these products when they were babies as well, in a sippy cup. Okay, they use a non-GMO ingredients as well. So, and it tastes so good. It comes in 3 flavors, vanilla, chocolate, and creamy berry. And again, getting that blood sugar in that glycemic control zone is so important. It does help with weight loss and diabetes by preventing fat storage and promotes fat burning. Okay, really, really important. So if you do want to shrink and you're having some challenges, this is a great product that you can add if you're struggling with your weight. It is a great program because it does replace your breakfast and your lunch. If you do have a lot of weight to lose, you have little mini snacks in between and a healthy dinner. But the snacks are a protein carb combination. And we can send you this mini meal list to give you some ideas on the different foods that you can eat, the foods to avoid. But we've had such amazing results with weight loss, but really important cardioprotective, okay? 15% reduction in LDL, which is the bad cholesterol. Okay, improve the HDL to LDL ratio. So really important. Okay, so not only for weight loss and body fat reduction, but really heart protective. Okay, so important. And the challenge is, right, if you're overweight, you're in high risk of heart disease. And look at what's happened from 20 years ago. Okay, when bagels were smaller, your French fries, when you order fries, you got a little bit of fries. Now everything is just so much larger. Our portions are larger. And so you really got to look at this as well. So I look at portion distortion. In overweight and obesity, it does impact our health. Okay, body weight is directly associated with increased heart risk factors and various and other factors as well. The BMI increases, so the blood pressure, low density lipoprotein, the ratio between LDL and HDL is not balanced properly. Again, and it causes inflammation. So these changes translate into increased risk for coronary heart disease, stroke, and cardiovascular death. Okay, so good news is 5 to 10% of body weight can lower blood pressure, LDL cholesterol, and triglycerides, and improve other cardiovascular risk factors. And Maryellen, I'd love for you to share Gabby's story because she has an amazing journey.
Yeah, and it's so true, Nana, because protein balances the body. So it's interesting because my mom had low blood pressure, but when she took the protein, it brought it to normal. So it's interesting how that does it. But this is Gabby. She was 30 years old at the time, and her husband was 40, and he died from complications from diabetes, actually from heart disease. And she had to take charge of her health. And as you can see, she lost 34 pounds in August of 2016 and November 2016. And she's such a great role model for her mom. And you can see 5 years later, look at Gabby. She looks even better now today than she did then. So it's so easy to do this lifestyle change because you can do it with your family, even though she has 3 small kids. The youngest was 4 months old at the time. It's a very doable program. And this is Carlos. He had a lot of health issues because as you can see, he lost 251 pounds. And what's really great was he lost, like I asked him, I said, did you ever have to have surgery? Because a lot of people who lose so much weight get very saggy skin. He said, I lost the fat, but I didn't lose the muscle. And that's what's important because remember, your heart's a muscle too. You want to protect the muscle in your body when you're losing weight. So important. And so let's dive a little bit into some of the products that key right in heart health.
Do you maybe want to bring maybe one of our testimonials on right now?
Yes, absolutely.
Awesome. Maybe we can hear from Wen.
Yes, you can. Hi, my name is Wen Bogues, and I was first introduced to Neolife in my mid-30s by my good friend Lynn. I was unaware that I had any health concerns. I just was filling in the gaps, possible gaps in my nutrition. There were lots, believe me, possible. Anyway, over the next couple of decades, I did see a few health concerns, classic migraines, low thyroid, some weight gain, and but it was my big wake-up call was actually my cholesterol. My physician reported that when I was in my mid-40s, which is a little early for heart disease in women. When I was perimenopause, so I had my hormones still. I was that little overweight, and I'm sure that contributed to it, as did hypothyroidism. My family really struggled with heart disease and diabetes type 2, and I did not want to join them or take medications with potential side effects for the rest of my life. I was lucky and I was smart. I talked with my sponsor, that was the smart part, and I added the heart health regimen. So extra salmon oil plus, lipotropic adjunct, vitamin E, and enteric coated garlic allium, and CoQ10 later. It wasn't available in that beginning. I added those to my supplement program. I worked in a rural setting and I could have my blood results checked relatively frequently because I asked. I watched my cholesterol profile improve after only 1 month, but I was cautious with that first dip because I knew about the placebo effect, and I was improving my exercise and watching my diet, so other things too. But then at 3 months, the drop in the total and bad cholesterols were obvious. And at 6 months, both of those were normal. My good cholesterol was extremely high, really good, and my triglycerides remained low. I was ecstatic, to say the least. You can't get these last two effects with medication. To this day, some 20 plus years later, my annual blood work continues to be outstanding. A little bonus being on the heart health program with that omega-3 salmon oil was that my classic migraines diminished. I still get the aura every now and then when I'm a bit stressed. I recognize that's a trigger for it, but no pain. So it's lovely. And I'm using less thyroid medication. I am aging gracefully and maintaining my good health. Thank you.
You sure are, Wen. And can you maybe give us your background? When you said where you work and stuff, I don't think you mentioned your background.
Well, I am now retired, but I had a 50-year history as a nurse, and then 20 of those years were as a nurse practitioner. So I was working as a nurse practitioner. I could order my own blood work, a bonus, and I could interpret it too. So I got to really get excited about what I was seeing.
And we've celebrated 2 birthdays in a row with you, Wen. And
you want me to celebrate that too?
You should see this lady. You should see this lady lift weights. My gosh.
Oh, there I am.
There you are, right there. Yeah,
I'm all heart.
Yeah, that's one. Thank you so much for sharing such a powerful story, Wen. Thank you.
So as Wen mentioned, one of the critical nutrients for our heart is low CoQ10. Because if you're low, you have low muscle function. And remember, the heart is the biggest muscle in the body. You have low energy because the CoQ10 works with in the center of the cell with the mitochondria to produce energy. But what's scary is it's the increase in disease risk between cancer, diabetes, heart disease, neurodegenerative diseases, cognitive decline. We want to be there when we get there. And as Wen mentioned, migraines, it plays a role in that as well. And so we were so excited when Neolife introduced a whole food CoQ10, a natural one, because there's no other natural one on the market. And it supports heart health and cellular energy. And why would we need CoQ10? Well, if you are on any medication, especially statins, which are given for cholesterol, that stops the pathway of that CoQ10. And that's why people get the muscle breakdown and the low energy because of that. And as you can see, this is how it shows in the cholesterol medication. You have your pathway and you can't produce CoQ10 without supplementing if you're on that medication. And also, as we get older, our levels decline with age as well. As you can see, when you're in your 20s, it's super high, and even by 40, you're way down there, and it gets even lower as you go on. So you think your heart beats at 100,000 times a day, and we need that CoQ10 for energy. And of course, a lot of the things we eat in our diet, not necessarily saying you're eating these things, but very few foods are high in CoQ10. And so the solution, this naturally sourced CoQ10, but what makes it different, it also has a phytolipid and sterol blend. So you get more of those lipids and sterols. It also has polyphenols. Remember I talked about how we have to protect our blood vessels from damage? Well, polyphenols are very powerful for that. And L-cysteine, which is for glutathione production, very, very important for heart health, and enhanced bioavailability, which means your body absorbs it. And Nada, do you want to share Dean's story?
Yeah, so Maryellen, some of you know Dean. We were police officers together actually on the police force. And when I started using the Neolife products, he came on board as a customer 30 years ago. So it's really kind of cool. We still talk and he's retired recently, but he has an amazing story that he shared with me a while back because he had some heart issues. And he'd been taking CoQ10 for a few years for a heart condition that he was diagnosed with 13 years ago by a cardiologist in Toronto, a condition called paroxysmal tachycardia. And the medication that I was given had side effects that were not nice. I felt like I was having a heart attack. I stopped the medication under the guidance of a naturopathic doctor and started taking 100 milligrams of coenzyme Q10 twice a day, along with curcumin for inflammation. It worked better than the pharmaceutical drug as a rapid increase in pulse rate disappeared with no side effects. I still was not 100%. Neolife's CoQ10, as soon as it was launched, I tried 2 bottles for the first 2 months, replacing the same 100 milligrams, and twice a day in conjunction with the curcumin worked even better. No palpitations, no more rapid pulse rates at all. Now I'll be using it exclusively as it works fantastic for my condition. And I've talked to him quite regularly over time. And he said he couldn't believe how quickly this product worked compared to the other CoQ10 that he was taking, and so grateful for this product. And he's he's just such a happy man right now. So grateful. So, you know, as you mentioned, Maryellen, so important to supplement with CoQ10, especially as we get into our 30s and 40s, because it does naturally decline, right, without supplementation. So critical. And then there's this issue as well, Maryellen, as we all hear this term homocysteine.
Yeah, I mentioned homocysteine earlier. It is a test you can ask your doctor to do for you. And what it actually is, it's a metabolic byproduct. So as you go through protein digestion, if you're lacking certain nutrients like B6, B12, folic acid, you will actually cause your body to create high amounts of this. And it causes heart disease. And it was interesting because they found a lot of people, like when you looked at my dad, he wasn't overweight, he didn't have high cholesterol, he didn't have high blood pressure, but stress, of course, depletes these B vitamins, and he was under a lot of stress. And I think it may have been the high homocysteine levels that caused his heart disease. So there is definitely a way to shut this down. They say actually 60% of people who die from heart disease have risk factors, but the other 40% could be in this the people without the high blood pressure, the high cholesterol, obesity. The other 40% did not have risk factors, but they had high homocysteine levels. So they say it's a better marker for heart disease than cholesterol. So, you know, I recommend everyone, ask your doctor to do it for you. And high blood homocysteine may be the most consistent risk factor for heart disease, and high homocysteine levels are linked with dietary deficiency of certain nutrients. So it's 100% related to your diet. So that's why Neolife put together the lipotropic adjunct. So what this product, Lipofat Tropic Hunter, so it actually hunts fat in the body. So it's also great for circulation, and it contains that B6, B12, and folic acid, which lowers that homocysteine levels. And then it's got those lipotropic factors, choline and inositol, which helps lipids like break up in the bloodstream. So it's a great product, and we've had people with Raynaud's, where you get the circulation where your hands and your feet are freezing, and I've had people get on the lipo and the vitamin E and do really well with it. And so what's the difference with this product is it provides nutritional support for healthy heart and circulatory system. So it is part of our heart cleanse. It's concentrated whole food lipotropic factors, of course, because Neolife only goes to food for sources. And it's improved B12 absorption because they add some of that betaine hydrochloric acid, because you need that to absorb B12. That's why a lot of people can't absorb B12 in the body. And it's also got bioflavonoids, which of course you want to help protect those blood vessels. And Nat, I know fiber is one of your favorite products.
It absolutely is. And, you know, fiber, I add this fiber to my protein drink. I add it to baking. When I'm making pancakes for the kids, or if I make muffins, I add it. It adds a really nice flavor. I have this amazing soda bread recipe that I make with whole grain flours, and I add a little bit of this as well. It's just a complete, concentrated, convenient source of whole fiber. It tastes really nice. It's not as gritty and grainy as some of the fiber products that are out there. It's very light, like almost like a baby powder. So it's really, really easy on the system, but has all 5 forms of soluble and insoluble fiber. So this is 12 natural sources, 7 to 8 grams per serving. It's hard. I think they say we should be eating, I think up to 30 to 35 grams is what we should be having every day. And it's a challenge to get all these enough fiber in our diet every single day. And it helps to promote gastrointestinal health, regularity, regulating blood sugar, but it's proven to absorb cholesterol. Okay, that's in your body as well. And again, to help to control weight by making you more satisfied, right? Because it kind of fills your tummy a little bit more because it expands in your stomach. This is one of my favorites, and I have to share with you because the garlic gallium helps with hypertension. And my dad, some of you have heard this story in the past. When I first started my Neolife business, he was on the products. My mom and dad were, and my dad back then was making a lot of red wine and being European. And I remember he had his first bad, not really bad physical, but in his eyes it was bad because they told me he had high cholesterol or high blood pressure, and he had to stop drinking wine because he had to go on blood pressure medication. Well, that was it. He called me and says, Nada, fix me up. That's the first thing he said. I put him on the garlic, CalMag, and some of the other products for cardiovascular health. He's 81 years old, never had to go on any heart medication. Okay, so really, really powerful. And the garlic helps with blood vessels. It helps with just circulation. It just relaxes the body, especially when you're under a lot of stress, because these are some of the causes, right? The high blood pressure, the high sugars, and things like that. But what I would love to do right now is I would love to have Penny come on. She has a long journey of heart health, and I'm going to take you back to 1997. Penny, if you want to just unmute yourself, I'm going to explain a little bit. We had a great conversation earlier today. I just want to make sure that you're unmuted. There you are. You're unmuted. Yes, my dear. Thank you. So Penny, back in 1997, your main artery was blocked 99%. Yes, and she had, right? She had angiogram done. And back then they said, that's it, bypass, right? And even after that, it didn't work, right, Penny? They did another angioplasty. How many stents do you have Tata put in?
Total of 15 stents in 2020. The last 6 stents were put in at Brampton Civic, May of 2020.
Mm-hmm. And Penny, you shared with me that you were sort of on the products, but never really consistent.
On the products, but not consistent. And after I had the 15th stent, I decided I'm going on the products total out.
and I guess it's been about.
The difference is when they did the last angiogram and said I had to have open heart surgery again, which I had last March the 4th. They were amazed that I was in surgery for 12 hours, the longest time in surgery. But when I came out, I spent the shortest time in ICU. I was in ICU overnight, and then next morning I was out. And they couldn't believe that I'd healed so fast.
Yeah, and even the nurses commented, right?
Nurses comment, you're not a heart patient? I say, yes, I am, but you don't look that way. You look well, you look radiant, right? And I said, well, how do heart patients look? Well, the color changes, right? But mine, they're amazed that I've stayed the same. I don't look any different. My incisions, the incision down my chest, And the ones on my legs have healed, and they couldn't believe when I went back for my 6-month checkup, the cardiovascular surgeon said, "You're doing really well. Whatever you're doing, just keep on doing it." And it's amazing what the body could do when you feed it the proper nutrients.
Yeah.
My body is healing itself. My cholesterol, my LDLs, HDLs, my blood pressure, everything is normal. And they've been the best. They are the best now that they've been in years. So I attribute it to taking the products. I'm grateful for Neolife and the products that I'm taking. I take the CoQ10, I take magnesium, I take the garlic sometimes. I take the, my favorite is the salmon oil and the lipotropic adjunct.
Yeah.
I kind of doubled up on the salmon oil, and I took 6 lipotropics adjuncts a day.
Excellent.
For the first 2 months, yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing your journey, Penny. And we're so grateful. Yeah, we're grateful that you know, you're being consistent and you're taking control, and you know, sometimes you have to, you know, resort to medication. Sometimes you have to have surgery and you know, get, you know, under the guidance of your doctor. But what's really nice about the Neolife supplements, they don't cure anything, but they supply the body with the proper nutrients so the body can heal, right, and give you the quality of life, right, that you're looking for. So thank you so much, Penny. Thank you for joining.
Thank you for allowing me to share it.
Thank you. So again, increasing the intake of garlic for high cholesterol and blood pressure also is really, really important. Maryellen, if you want to share a little bit about the amazing garlic that Neolife has.
Yeah, what I really like about the Neolife garlic is, number one, it's enteric coated. So you get all the benefit of the allicin without all the smell. But it also is chives, leeks, onions. So it's not just garlic. It's got all of those types of vegetables. And it helps a lot with hypertension, because a lot of that is caused from stress. And remember, we talked about when you're under stress, the adrenal glands push down on the kidneys and shoot the blood pressure up. Well, in 17 minutes, that garlic can open that up and release that. And it's also caused from things like enzyme imbalances, defects. Some of the symptoms, some people get swishing around the ears, heat on the back of the neck, or headaches, to give you an example. So the garlic is a great whole food product, and it does have the therapeutic 4,000 international units that's on the back. Another big player in the heart program is our vitamin E. It's one of the #1 nutrients for cardiovascular disease. This helps prevent strokes, cerebral hemorrhage, varicose veins, because again, that's to do with the circulatory system, phlebitis, and angina. And what it does, it helps your blood flow. So it controls consistency of the blood. It prevents blood clots, because, you know, that's a big fear, right? If you get the clots, you can cause a heart attack. It dilates the capillaries, which help the blood flow better, and it thins the blood. So again, if you're on blood thinners, you can't take vitamin E. You'd have to talk to your doctor about that. Yeah. And there was a lot of research studies. A lot of people have heard of the Shoot Clinic in London, Ontario. They did so much research on vitamin E years and years and years ago. So it's well established, the safety of vitamin E. So let's say you try and eat it in your diet. Well, the recommended daily allowance, the RDA, is 30. That's not optimum. Optimum levels should be more closer to 200. But just to get that 30, let's say you wanted to try and eat it in food. Well, you'd have to eat 2.5 pounds of spinach, which is not too bad, 297 calories, or 8.5 pounds of broccoli, which is 1,010 calories, or you can have 2.25 pounds of brown rice, which is like over 1,200 calories. And look at the bacon, 10 pounds, 26,000 calories. That's a whopper. And even the 124 slices of whole wheat bread is pretty high too, which, and I mean, who could ever eat that amount? It's impossible, right? And like I mentioned, the RDA is too low to defend the body from free radicals and oxidants to provide maximum health. The optimum daily intake is 100 to 400. And so taking it 100 times more than what the recommended daily allowance is totally safe. So what are some symptoms for low magnesium? Magnesium. You can have neurological, that's your nerves and everything, muscular, Cardiovascular is what we're going to focus on tonight, because they have found that people with a regular or rapid heartbeat or coronary spasms are low in magnesium, and they respond to magnesium supplementation. So where can we find magnesium? Well, dark green leafy vegetables. That's why we always recommend that. Nuts, whole grains, fish, legumes, and fruits. Why don't we get enough? Well, because the amount in our diet is decreasing, partially because of food choices, because it's hard to eat so many fruits and vegetables. The bioavailability is decline. A lot of the magnesium is not being absorbed because of other things going on in lifestyle factors that interfere with magnesium. And even the amount in the soils is so much lower. The foods don't have the magnesium that they had years ago. So that's why Neolife introduced their magnesium complex, and it has that Trimag and Phytomag complex. And it is certified kosher, so it's a vegetarian product. And I like it because it's got some broccoli and beets and things in it as well. So this is a multiple form. So it's got 3 different forms of magnesium. Again, the magnesium is a double amino acid chelated. That's the bisglycinate. It's so it's absorbed 5 times better. Then they have organically bound magnesium citrate. And then they have natural earth form magnesium oxide. So this product was proven to be very absorbed very, very well in the body. And another factor that's important for the stress is our aloe. So why would you want to consume aloe? Well, constipation. Remember, if your gut's not working properly, creates inflammation. Immune system enhancement. Support normal blood sugar. Remember, high blood sugar damages the heart. Respiratory support, and it soothes digestion and stress-induced discomfort. And remember, we said stress is a big risk factor for heart disease and promotes healing and reduces inflammation. And it tastes amazing. As you can see, I won't read all of this off if you guys want a copy of this, but there's so many benefits to all the ingredients in the aloe, from healing to, like antibacterial to like all sorts, like potassium, magnesium, again, very important electrolytes, because if those get too low, it can affect the heartbeat, right? So, and then the passion flower, which is calming, and then of course, vitamin C, which is so, so important. So now, did you want to summarize our sort of Neolife solution for heart health?
Absolutely. And before I do summarize, though, I don't want to forget to invite Julie. Julie has a really awesome story. I actually spoke with her just before the call tonight as well. Julie, can you unmute yourself as well, please?
Good night.
Hello.
This is Julie. My testimony is about blood pressure.
Can you talk? Oh, sorry. Speak a little louder, Julie. Sorry, your testimonial is on blood pressure.
Yeah, I didn't know I have blood pressure until I went to the clinic, feeling a little weird, and it was and they recommended to go to the doctor. After going to the doctor gonna put me on supplement and some meds, and I tell him no. And when I come back home, I take magnesium and Pro Vitality. And when I take that for 3 days, and when I went back to the doctor on the 3rd day, the doctor is like, "What did you take?" And I tell him, "I'm taking Neolife product. I'm taking magnesium and Pro Vitality." And he said, "Okay." And when I went back in a week's time, and he said, "Wow, this product is great." And I said, yes, his mouth was wide open. And now I'm doing just fine. And I'm thankful for Neolife product, and also to Sadie that introduced me to these products.
Yeah, so Sadie introduced you. Sadie's in Jamaica. And Julie, where are you now? Are you in Jamaica?
Yes, I'm in Jamaica.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for joining us on the call tonight. I really appreciate you sharing your amazing story with something as simple as Pro Vitality and magnesium. Fantastic. Thank you so much. So, you know what, when you look at the Neolife solutions and the products that support our heart, you know, you're looking at that Pro Vitality and the Neolife Shake. And then if you have cholesterol issues and blood pressure concerns, then, you know, you might want to consider adding, you know, extra salmon oil like Penny did, right? In CoQ10, and then you've got garlic, These are all the key nutrients that play a really big role in supporting cardiovascular health. But you know what, from a prevention standpoint, we highly recommend even starting with something as simple as what we call a breakfast pack, which is Pro Vitality and the Neolife Shake. And then you can look at some of the other products if you're looking at optimal health. So how do I get a hold of these products? I know some of you are wondering, you know, what's really nice about the Neolife Club, it's free to join. And as soon as you become a member of our club, you get 15% off. And when you go on auto ship, you get wholesale price. So for example, that box of vitamins, a Vitality pack that Julie was talking about, it's a month supply. So when you set that up on auto ship, you get a 25% discount on that Pro Vitality. And also when you set up auto ship, you can get all your shipping back in 6 months. You also, we have a referral program, whereas if you refer 3 people to that pack, yours is free every single month. We also have some fitness challenges and weight loss challenges. If you're looking at really overall wellness and improving your health by either improving your fitness or your weight, we have a challenge that you can join and win some prizes. And we have a challenge champion on our call tonight, Shelly, who won the 90-day fitness challenge. So yeah, so congratulations. So it's an amazing way to keep you accountable. Hey, Shelly?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a great way to have accountability and just that support as you go through and just keep you on track. It's a great thing to do the challenge. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that. And this is the breakfast pack. So those of you that are looking at, well, where should I start? You know, what's the foundation? This is a great place to start. You get your Vitality pack once a day. You have your protein shake every day. Just a great place to start. Energy, vitality, just overall health. So, you know, again, these are the different health packs. The one with the 4 bags of protein, the weight loss pack, that's if you're doing the 2 protein shakes a day. And if you're looking at really, you know, maybe 30, 40, 50 pounds or plus, okay? But the breakfast pack is definitely one of the best sellers that we have. We also have a group, a community on Facebook. It's called Neolife Healthy Living Community. This is where you hear amazing stories and testimonials that people share on all areas of health. And again, Neolife doesn't claim to cure anything, but it's amazing when you give the body the proper nutrients, the whole food supplements, how the body just starts to work better, cells start to heal, and you start to feel better and reach your optimal level of health. So this is, again, just a great group where you can just check out some other stories on a variety of different health challenges. And we do have another option. We're not going to go into all the details of the business right now, but I just want you to know that if you were someone you know really enjoys helping others, this is where I was 30 years ago. I had a great career. I thought I was going to be a police officer for the rest of my life, but I realized I wanted more. And the more I got involved with Neolife, the more I realized that I could really have an impact in people's lives. And I wanted time freedom. I wanted to work from home. And that's what this business has allowed myself and my husband to leave our police careers, to start a family and work from home. So this is another option for those of you that are looking at a little extra income, whether it be part-time or build it to a full-time income like myself. So you can always ask us questions a little bit later, but I know today or tonight, we're just here to talk about heart health, how to have build a stronger immune system. So if you're looking at just using the products, becoming a member, we welcome you. I want to thank you so much for joining us tonight. We're going to pause or stop the recording and open up to questions for those of you that might have questions after all this amazing information you heard tonight. I do want to thank all of our amazing stories that we heard on heart health with Julie and Wen and Penny. And I want to thank Maryellen for joining me this evening as well. So have a great night, and we'll talk to you soon.